You're gonna be tired from driving it. Oh, and on top of that, yeah. It just moves, man.
It's so light, it feels like it's got torque, even though it's not.
Have you waited?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What are we looking at?
The 2096.
With you in it or how?
No, not with me in it.
So
I'm not going to say how much it weighs with me in it.
Can you imagine how much it weighs with me in it? It jumps to 2,500. Alright everyone, welcome back to the Motor Anatomy. Today we have Esteban. Esteban, thank you so much for making some time for us, man. I appreciate your time. So tell us, man, what do you drive?
This is a 2010 Honda Fit Sport. Got a Kswap JDM front end.
No biggie, right?
No big
Just
deal.
a regular Honda Fit
Yeah.
grocery getter.
Yeah.
So tell us, first of all, where the whole Honda game for you started, and then tell us a little about why the Fit.
It started for me in high school. A lot of the cool kids drove Hondas. My friend had a 93 hatchback and just always loved the way they looked. You know, slammed on, you know, even then steel wheels still looked cool. And so I always wanted one. Finally got one about 95. And that's about, you know, the extent of it. I would just lower them. Didn't really know much about the engines. We did nitrous, stuff like that. But after high school, I went to mechanic school in Arizona, UTI. There I met a lot of guys who were really into the mechanical side of Hondas and really learned about, you know, the twin cam Honda engines and stuff like that. And there I got exposed to, you know, doing motor swaps and stuff like that. And man, from there just took off. You know, for sure I got a Civic, put a GSR motor in it, and then bought an actual GSR because I loved the Integra, and got a Type R. And then after the Type R, I had a TSX for a little bit. It was like a family car, but didn't stay a family car for long. So then I just took a long sabbatical from Hondas and drove a Prius and minivans while I raised my family. So jumped back into this about a year ago and wanted to build something for the track and thought Honda Fits looked pretty cool.
So was the Honda Fit something that you always kind of would see on the road, or is it just something that kind of creep up and you're like, wait a minute, this actually have potential? How did that go about?
Yeah, I always loved Honda Fits when they first came out. I remember talking to Shang about them and trying to convince him to build one back then, and I think he did. He built a GD Fit, and I was in love with it. And they started a K-Swap, but never finished it. So I knew one day that I was going to do a GE and I was going to do K-Swap. I thought that would be such a good track vehicle. That was my thinking, was I was going to build a track GE and see how it did.
So fast forward, you're no longer driving a minivan. How did you come about this Honda Fit, and where did you pick it up?
Yeah, so an old lady, you know, couldn't drive it anymore, so I was lucky enough to fall into my hands. So got it for pretty cheap. The engine wasn't good, so I had every excuse to now pursue. I know if I had a good engine, I'd probably drive it around a little bit, but it kind of forced me to start the swap. So.
Gotcha. It forced you. Oh,
Yeah.
I love how you said that. It forced you. Poor victim.
Yeah. I wasn't gonna buy another engine that was good, you know, and another. So it got the ball got the ball rolling. Yeah, for sure.
So you pick it up. You know you're gonna swap it. Was this a vision? What was the vision for it? Because it's very, very aggressive.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
I loved the way the Spoon GE looked, but I didn't see one in white, and I always loved a white. I seen a yellow. They had a yellow one, but they didn't have it on the SW wheels. So I wanted a white one. I wanted the carbon hood and the black mirrors and the black wheels. I thought that would be really cool to, like pay homage to the EKs that they used to do like that. I love the way that those always look. Those look so cool. So that's exactly how I wanted to build it. This is what I envisioned it.
Man, what do we got going on in the front end?
So Spoon Sports bumper, Spoon hood, and then this is the JDM RS headlights. That's about it, really. Really simple. I don't know if the Spoon Sports banner, the Spoon Sports side mirrors. Yeah.
How hard was it to piece it together? I mean, I don't know how.
Getting the parts is not hard.
Okay.
I mean, when on the forums, you can get the parts list pretty easy, but it wasn't I didn't see a lot of people doing the swap. There's a couple guys do it, and all they did was speak kind of about how hard it was, and it's not like the DC2 swap where you just unbolt the radiator support. This one, the cars are completely different, so not a lot lines up, and it's a lot more custom fabrication to get the JDM front end to work.
Ooh.
But I think it was worth it. I think it sets it apart and makes it, continues the line of the windshield down the hood to the front bumper. So
super clean, man.
Yeah.
Super clean.
It makes everything 10 times more difficult because I just took away 8 inches, 10 inches from the engine bay that could have been used for the swap.
Which is kind of crazy because it's already a very small car too.
Yeah.
So let me just make it harder for me.
Exactly, yeah.
Let me put a bigger engine too on top of that.
That's me, though. I never choose the easier route.
And so, obviously you got paint match, and then you did all the fabrication yourself?
No, I had a lot of help from my friend Tom Dominguez. He does a lot of like more hot rod stuff, but he's a real talented guy. So he helped me with a lot of the custom fabrication work to get the JDM front end to line up.
Now, was the Honda Fit white to begin with? Or
it was white. This is the same taffeta white.
Oh, okay.
And we just kind of color matched it and blended it in some areas. A lot of it's original paint. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, perfect paint match. That's one of the hardest things to do, and it looks perfect. Any future plans for the front end?
I really want to figure something out with the wiper valance here. It's something, maybe custom made or whatever, because that still doesn't fit 100%. I think that would be my only really thing I'd want to do with the front end. Other than that, I'm happy with it. I like having lots of ground clearance. I can go in any parking lot I want. So and one thing about this, it's really critical that air goes underneath the fit. I know a lot of people want splitters, but because of the engine is like a big pocket and hot air gets stuck in there, and air needs to exit out the bottom of the car. So I was having cooling issues with it when I first had the swap done. So that's one thing. So having a split or something like that is probably something that probably wouldn't work unless I figured out a way to vent out the top of the hood or something.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So then tell us a little about your suspension pieces. What do you have going on?
So Tony Jackson, Race Prep Garage, pretty much spec'd it out, my spring rates. I have TCS, caster camber plates, and then BC shocks, and then iBox springs.
Okay.
Yeah. Progress rear sway bar, and then a stock sway bar in the front.
Okay.
Yeah, pretty simple.
Does it feel good, or do you feel like you
it's
tighten up a little bit?
Tony, knowing that I haven't driven in a long time, he didn't want the car to be super twitchy on me, so we made it really soft and predictable. And it really helped me kind of dial into other things and actually learn the track and stuff like that. So it was really smart of him, and I was really thankful for that, because my mindset was to make it a full race car out the box, but I know I probably would have spun it out or been in the dirt. So I didn't have any off-track experiences, and the car was really easy to drive.
As you progress as a driver, maybe you can stiffen it up a little bit more.
I already stiffened it up for Button Willis. So,
okay. Oh, yes. Okay. There you go.
So now we are on 8 and 6 K springs, and now we're going to be on 12 and 10 K springs.
That's a huge difference.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot. But one thing we were having was the rear brakes were locking up a lot.
Okay.
So looking at some video, we saw that the back end was getting really light. So we added a helper spring to give it a little more suspension travel. So that and the stiffer springs, and I think it's going to be pretty fast. Trial
and error. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, braking system. What do you have going on?
So the Spoon monoblocks in the front with the Raybestos pads, Raybestos racing pads.
And what kind of rotor are you running?
That's just a fast brakes rotor for S2000, I believe.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Just re-drilled for 4x100.
Okay.
The rear is RSX rotor. And I originally had Raybestos racing pads too, but it's just, like I said, it's too much rear brake. So we're trying to figure out, I went and got the cheapest brake pad at AutoZone to try to get it not to break in the rear. And it's still, it's still locking them up. So either a smaller caliper and rotor, or I've even thought about going back to drum. Like the Honda Insight rear drums are aluminum, lightweight. So I think on the Spoon endurance car, they run that too. So
really?
Yeah. So that's an idea too. I'm tossing around.
Okay. And then tell us about your wheel and tire setup.
So it's the Spoon SW388. The front is 16 by 7.5, and I have a 225 on the front.
That's 225, 45? Okay.
And then on the rear is 16 by 7.
Oh, okay.
And a lot less offset, and that is a 205 in the rear.
Okay, 205.
Yeah. So all little tricks try to get the car to rotate on the track.
Absolutely gorgeous, man. I mean, I can't see any future plans for the outside, but do you have any future plans for the outside?
No, I don't think so. I think just to make, I don't know, I kind of wanted to look a little more aggressive, but I don't really know any way that I could. So, yeah, no real. We're thinking of some kind of gurney flap maybe on the wing to try to help stabilize the car at high speed braking. But other than that, no real plans. I'm sure it's going to be a lot of work just trying to keep the car looking this nice. Yeah. You know, going to the track all the time. So that's probably my main goal, is to try to keep the car looking nice.
Cool. Good. Tell us a little about the cockpit, man. It's so not much there.
Yeah, just you know, race style, you know, interior, as little as possible. You know, everything that you need to get to, it's close by. Spoon buckets, Spoon seat mounts, the brackets, and then I think those are Buddy Club sliders. That's one thing I think I want to change, is maybe solidly mount the seats, but I've kind of been trying to dial in my position a little bit.
Okay.
Spoon, this is actually, I had the original Spoon steering wheel, but it's only 340, and I wanted something a little bit bigger, and I like a suede steering wheel. So this is just the Monte Carlo in 350.
Okay.
I just put the Spoon horn button back on. K-Tune shifter for a TSX with the K20 Mart shift knob. And then Ken Suen did a lot of custom work mounting the shifter, and then mounting my AEM digital dash.
Okay.
Really, that's about it. Nothing too fancy. There's a spacer on the gas pedal to try to get it a little bit closer to the brake pedal. For, that's one thing that was tricky, was for heel toe. But other than that, nothing much.
Roll bar.
Yeah, roll bar was done by my friend Tom Dominguez. So that's one thing that was kind of not planned as well as we wanted, but we needed some kind of roll bar protection, and because we knew we wanted to put bucket seats in it. But I think plans are a full cage.
Full cage.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
I know.
And then let's just take more space out by doing the front end conversion.
Yeah.
So tell us, what are we staring at, man?
This is a K20A from the Accord Euro R. And the same, the ASP3 transmission that came with it, limited slip. So.
So let's start off by the front. Tell us about radiator. What kind of cooling system are you running?
So it's a CNR radiator core, but KSR Racing, Ken Suen, he custom made the end tanks and the positioning and the brackets all for it to get it to, like I said, we wanted the air to come through and then go down. Mm-hmm. So he kind of tilted it back. And it's really trick how we use these radiator hoses from the Honda B series.
Just cut them?
No, this is actually uncut, but just the way he lined it up over here so it would still get to the radiator. And this is our overflow. And he routed it, I don't know, it's kind of hard to see with the bumper on, but he kind of routed it around, and it actually like really improves the flow of the coolant. It's pretty trick, yeah. He puts a lot of the thought into everything he does.
That's cool. Okay. And then your fuel. What kind of fuel are you running? Rails?
This is the K-tuned fuel rail and Honda injectors. Nothing fancy. Okay. That was the big thing is I wanted to be able to run really cheap gas, like 91 gas, and be reliable. And really thankful for Bo Brown. He really talked me off a cliff from wanting to run some crazy fuel because out of the track, sometimes it's hard to get good fuel.
Yeah.
And so I could run this thing on probably 87 and it would still be fine.
Okay.
It's a really rich tune, and then after about 5 seconds of wide open throttle, it even gets richer to help cooling the piston, for being on the track all day. So.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, it's not. I could probably tune it for even more horsepower, but it's really reliable. Like I said, me and Tony both drove it for 2 days and with not one hiccup. So.
Love it.
Yeah.
Honda engineering,
mm-hmm.
and part of you guys doing some magic that you guys didn't go overboard. Speaking of overboard, is the stock and the transmission stock, or did you guys?
Yeah, completely stock.
Okay.
I have XD clutch, but it's a sprung hub, nothing fancy. Light flywheel, but yeah, everything is pretty much stock. So if something breaks, I can go to AutoZone and get something, pick up some axles or a clutch for it.
Oh, that's cool. That's lovely.
Other than that, I have a Moroso oil pan. The Type S oil pump from 4-Piston Racing. Not much other than that. Toda timing tensioner. Just small things that are more for insurance instead of performance.
And what are the future plans? Are you planning to keep it as is? Because it sounds like it's very fun and very reliable.
Yeah.
That's the best of two worlds,
Yeah, it's more horsepower than I can probably handle right now. So I think once I get to the limits of this engine and I do plans of, really high horsepower NA motor, ITBs, that kind of thing would be cool. But I can't see that for another year or so, doing something like that.
Okay.
So distant future.
Yeah, definitely just enjoying it.
Yeah, for sure. Like I said, braking is probably the biggest issue with the car right now. So I think that's what I'm really going to focus on is trying to get the brake dialed in.
All right, man. Thank you so much for making the time for us. I absolutely love this Honda Fit. It's a monster, man. It's cool. I don't understand how you're still going to track this beauty, but that's, I guess, what you build it. So thank you so much for your time, man. And any
My
shout-outs?
pleasure. Yeah, for sure. Biggest shout out is to JHP USA. They really helped me get all the parts and inspire me to build something for the track, not just to cruise around. So yeah, they're my biggest shout out, JHP and Belade Sports. I probably couldn't have got the car running without them. Aaron and all the guys at Belade really actually the only ones who would answer my emails and take on the job of getting this Kswap running. So big shout out to them. Rywire for building the harness, and Ken Suen. He's pretty much the reason the car looks this nice, running. And he really took the time to make everything look nice and presentable and easier to work on. And he got the car, because before I took it to Ken, the car would overheat. So now the car doesn't go, all day at the track doesn't go over 180 degrees. Tony Jackson, a Race Prep Garage, helped me sort out the suspension. Tom Dominguez, Catfish Customs for a lot of the custom fabrication work. Go Tuning and Spoon Sports USA, Tommy, those guys, ordering all the parts for me. And my wife, my family for being really supportive, letting me take on this midlife crisis. That's been, I know it's kind of been a pain in the ass, but it's been nice to have their support and enjoy it as much as I do. They came out to the track and watched me beat it up. And
Nice.
so it's been a lot of fun.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, man. I really appreciate your time. Honda Fit, we love it. Hopefully, this inspires way more people to start building Honda Fits because
I hope so too. Yeah.
So they seem to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, they are. They're cool cars.
Alrighty, so everybody go through your midlife crisis and go buy a Honda Fit. Thank you for your time, man. I really appreciate it.
My pleasure.
I gave you a head start. That's why you beat me. Won't happen again. What made you go with the AM dash?
So I had the AIM one originally, and talking to the guys who, especially Bo Brown, he helped work at, he worked at AEM, and he was telling me that the guy who designed this dash does racing out in salt flats where it's bright white, and he wanted to design a dash that had no glare at all. So if you, I mean, this thing, when it's off, it looks like it's scratched because it's so dull, but that it doesn't get any glare on it at all.
Makes sense.
You see some dashes look like a tablet, and they're just like, you turn on, the right way, you can kind of get glare, but this thing, you can always see the display, even in the middle of the day with the sun down. So I was sold. Once he told me that, I was like, okay, I'm sold. CD7, yeah.